All right, Dan, let's go ahead and get started. Hello, and everybody. Welcome. Today we have Dan Semi today from Brightspace. Dan's been on the D2L Solutions engineering team, primarily supporting existing higher ed clients for over 9 years. He says he enjoys working with challenges to provide solutions to maximize client potential for success with Brightspace. And in his spare time, he enjoys long tours on the Harley with his wife, playing guitar, spending time with the kids and grandkids. So, Dan, we really appreciate you joining us today, and thank you. Go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Corey. I am really excited to be here this morning, and hello, folks. I hope that you are already enjoying the network sessions that have been going on. It looks like an exciting conference. So this morning, I'd like to go through a little bit of talking about a micro-credentialing strategy working within Brightspace, and I want to welcome you folks all to the Brightspace platform. We're happy to have you as a new client. And there are some things that you'll probably learn, within the Brightspace learning management system. But one of the things that I've really had the pleasure of working with many clients on is a micro-credentialing strategy using the Brightspace Awards tool. There's lots of things that can be done within that. And as we begin to think about that, what I want to do with you folks right now is just have you take a moment and reflect on what is your skill set. As we talk about skill sets in a type of a micro-credentialing program or a strategy, to help get that started, think about your own skill sets. What skill sets do you have that bring you excitement and help you in your current work or profession? And those might be some combination of abilities, qualities, experiences that you have learned and picked up throughout your time to help you apply and perform tasks as well. And you can also, I just want to let you know, you can gain and improve skills with education and experience as you move forward. So just keep that in the back of your mind as we go through the next set of slides. What we'll see is about 7 or 8 slides defining a micro-credential type of a program, what things to think about, how you can strategize this, and how you can use some of the tools within Brightspace. And then I'll take you for a walk within a Brightspace platform where I have some of this set up, and you can see it in action at the faculty level and the student level and the learner level. So when you think about micro-credentials, what is your thought about that? What are the things that you know about micro-credentials? I know, as I speak with many clients, micro-credentials is a buzzword, but what does it really mean? I've just highlighted a few things up here that might help represent what micro-credentials are. Really, they're mini qualifications that demonstrate skills, knowledge, and or experience in a given subject or a capability. They're often narrower than traditional qualifications like a diploma or a degree, but you can use them and range anywhere from broad focus to more specific. For example, you might have a micro-credential for something as broad as Spanish language, and then offer another set of micro-credentials that focus specifically on reading that language or writing that language or having, specific conversation skills and cultural knowledge about that area, right? And you can also use micro-credentials can be signified by a digital badge as we talk about the badging type of a system and certificates. And when we talk about those digital badges, that means that they can be shared anywhere. Now, I know many of you probably have a diploma or a degree, and you have received, some type of a paper that shows evidence that you have received that degree and the work that you've gone and put in and the effort that you have. But I want to ask you, where is that degree? Is that hanging up on the wall? Like maybe some of you can see in the back of my area here. Is that hanging up on a wall? Is it sitting on a shelf? Is it on your desktop? And how many others than you are able to see that and warrant that evidence that you have that shows that you have those skills? That's where digital badging can come in, because once you have that digital badge, that can be shared on many, many different platforms. If you think about LinkedIn, and we'll see that in a few moments too, but if you think about LinkedIn and people looking at, you know, some potential employees or people that you want on your team, you take a look at LinkedIn and see what type of badges and digital credentials they have. That might give you more impetus to hire that person, things like that. So they really show qualification or pathway to learning and are able to be shared. That's some of the main points within that. And what do micro-credentials solve for the individual as we think about that? How does this benefit your learners at your institutions? I've posted just a few items that you can think of and might help you understand that here on the slide. For digital accreditation, as we've just spoke about, sharing on social networks helps encourage to seek new skills. You may be also thinking about professional development within your staff, and ability to demonstrate improvement. For student, micro-credentials helps track their learning, both during and after you leave formal education. And micro-credentials are something that you can download and take away to provide digital accreditation and things like that. So there's great benefit, not only for the learners at your institution, but also for your institution. What are some of the things that micro-credentials may solve for your institution? As you've started to see, micro-credentials are valuable for the individual to help them keep a digital record, but for an organization, having a micro-credentialing strategy has a number of different benefits. It may help you increase outputs, productivity within your student body, really demonstrates a culture of learning, identify hidden talents within your student body, and helps you as an institution to create alignment with your curriculum and the skills that you're looking to develop, and provides campus recognition for you as your institution. When we think about micro-credentials and open badges, D2L has a badge and award tool that can be used as micro-credentials to help represent that competency or skill earned through participating or progressing through completed activities within your course. And I like this picture by Brian Mathers of the open badges. As you think of a digital badge or a digital icon that somebody has received and earned, there's stuff inside there. There's data inside that. Badges are issued by Brightspace are open badges. They're built on the platform. Open badges was actually developed by Mozilla years ago, and then it's been taken over by the IMS Global Consortium as a standard and being run by Concentric Sky and Badger program right now. But we have in Brightspace the ability to link those badges that are created out to Badger automatically with a built-in integration, and then your learners can share those out on social networks as they please, through a variety of different platforms. So as you think about open badges within micro-credentials, it really means that you have the ability to create micro-credentials, nano degrees, gamification type badges and things like that. So we'll see more of that when we look at the live presentation. So we talked about micro-credentials and badges, and then we also discussed some of the benefits that it poses to your learners and your student body, and we discussed some of the benefits and value that it has for your institution. Now, how do you pull all that together and make a pedagogical connection to micro-credentials? So these are some of the thoughts here. You may have more, and obviously Brightspace and D2L can help you move that needle even farther. But understand, you all have different motivations, and so does your student body. These are some of the things that you might want to think about as you begin to ponder, can we develop a micro-credentialing strategy, and how do we use that? Obviously within courses, and even if we narrow that down to tasks, you might have heard another buzzword come up recently called micro-persistence. And that means persistence at a level of a task, right? Not just intrinsic motivation, but persistence at a level of a task. So thinking along those terms, not everyone should be able to get the same badge as you're developing some sort of strategy within your courses. Obviously, you want to minimize completion and maximize performance, right? Students that are coming back to the workforce or need to retune and rehone some of these skills, or even create new skills as they're going along. They don't want to look at, I've got 4, 5, 6 years to develop this skill. What skills can you help them provide right now and get recognition for at a task level? Make some badges that are challenging to get. Everybody in the same class is not going to go forward in that class the same way. You all know that learners learn in different ways, and some are more gifted than others, and others, want to have a different picture of that. Within the badges and the awards tool in Brightspace, you have the ability to set them up automated or manual. We have many tools that you'll learn within Brightspace, and I'll show you a couple of those as we walk through the system, that you can automate some of these badges based on the performance of the learners. So, maybe they get really high scores on a quiz the first time or an assessment the first time. You may want to pose a badge. Maybe they've gone through a challenging unit or a challenging chapter that really discuss some deep concepts in math or physics or something like that, or even nursing, and you want to automate the process of awarding them a badge. You can set that up so that when they complete either a task, or they complete an assignment, or they complete an assessment, or they complete some of the content within the system, they would be received and awarded a badge. And you can also do that manually at the end if you need to. But you decide as a faculty member and as an institution how you want to use that pedagogical connection to micro-credential badging. And it might be technical skills versus interpersonal skills, right? Again, that micro-persistence at the task level as you begin to think about that and use a setup for looking at a micro-credential strategy here within Brightspace. I'll show you here, and I will share this out with Corey and the team, that you folks will be able to have access to this slide deck. I've got a number of links out here that will give you some information. The awards quick reference out here that helps you pull that information together. We also have an instructional design best practices group on our Brightspace community that you can access via a login to our Brightspace community. And there's a couple of different links that I will show you in the next few moments here about creating stackable credentials in Brightspace and then sharing some badges. There's a number of different ways that, as we think about this strategy and micro-credentialing, how can we use that more in Brightspace and help understand how to pull that all together. So I want to pause there for a moment if anybody has any questions. I know Corey was going to watch the chat if anybody had any specific questions about what we just saw on the slide deck before I jump into a little bit of a walkthrough in a Brightspace instance so you can see some of these tools in action as we move forward.
I don't see anything yet, Dan, but I think we'll get more once we do the walkthrough.
All right, very good. So right now I am in a Brightspace site. This is my own personal sandbox that I do a lot of development in and do demonstrations from within. And I am currently logged in, excuse me, I'm currently logged in as Jonathan Davis. He is an instructor and a faculty member, and he has a number of different courses that he has created different badges and awards set up within his system and within his courses to allow students to progress through and to give them motivation in different things that he has. So let's take a look at some of the courses that he has listed up here. We'll take a look at, I've got some other courses listed here. And it all depends on, what courses that you want to be able to use within this and understand how you want to be able to work with those particular courses. I have a course here. There's actually 4 courses, as you can see, Addiction 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I've created an actual pathway for the learners to be able to use this in a type of a micro-credentialing program. I can set this up as a, credit or non-credit type of format to where students can either earn either a matriculated connection with that course or earn credits, depending on if they need to upskill in certain areas within that. So some students may be taking the whole set, some students may be taking just one of these particular courses. Again, that is all depends on how you want to set that up at your institution. So if I take a look at the addiction course here, and I open this up, there is a tool within Brightspace called the awards tool. And that is where I can easily create those and understand what happens with the actual award tool and allow that tool to be used so that I can allow students to earn different elements from tasks that are created in the system and tasks that are completed. And as you'll notice here, if I go into this awards tool in the class list awards, I see a list of the students that are in here. This is me. I don't have any awards because I'm the instructor in here, so I'm not going through that. But a number of my students have some different awards, and I can point on these and hover over these, and you'll see that this then shows the type of award that they have won. Within the awards tool, that may be either a badge as a digital notification or a digital icon that the student has completed or earned, or it may be a certificate. And you'll have to decide how you want to use that. Like I said earlier, in a strategy that you devise, it might be that they complete a certain number of credits in order to get the certificate. In this particular example, as you saw, I had 4 different courses there for the addiction therapy and psychology type of program, that the students would have to go through all 4 courses and complete all 4 courses in order to receive the certificate. But they may receive certain badges just by going through one particular course, as you've seen here, right? And different things that they have. But we'll see some different students that have earned some different awards also. If I look at the actual course awards, these are the awards and badges that have been created and set up in different areas within this course. If I want to add an award to a course as an instructor, I simply allow and click on add, and then I create. And you'll also notice that I have some certificates out here that have been created. And once I do and I choose to create that as an instructor, I would just simply go through, name that, create a description. It's helpful to understand, the description so the students understand what they had to do to earn that. And this helps with the evidence once you post that out as a digital badge also. But here you have the ability to choose whether this is going to be a badge or certificate. Really, the difference between a badge and a certificate within Brightspace is that a badge is just a digital icon with evidence embedded, as we saw on the slide earlier. And a certificate is a printable PDF. So we'll see one of those when I open that up in a little while. But that gives the student the ability to print that out if they so choose to add that certificate, and hang it on the wall or plaque or something else. As an instructor, I can make this availability to my courses or make it available to other creators and instructors in my institution so they don't have to go through and create the same thing. And then I can set expiration dates. This is very important and shows value because, as a strategy that you may want to build out for micro-credentialing, you might have to have skills that need to be renewed every year or every 2 years. And so you can set that as a fixed date, that that particular certificate or that skill, honed skill, expires at a particular date, and the learner then would receive a notification that, hey, this certificate that you have earned has expired. You'll need to take this course to keep that professional development moving, things like that. And then, you can set up different relative dates and times before the expiration as that happens. And we do have some award images, so you can choose from an existing library that we have, or you can upload your own icons if you want from our existing library. There's a number of them that we have here that you can use to showcase different items that have been created. And the same thing, if I was going to create a certificate, I would have a PDF template layout, or I can submit and upload my own PDF template of the actual award that I would like to do. And this information is your system information. So this would be coming from your institution. This is what you don't want to change. That will be set in there and embedded into the badge, so that when your learners share those out on platforms such as LinkedIn and Twitter, then people will be able to click on that badge and it will report back to them and show them the evidence that your learners had completed in order to receive that badge. And then it gives a recognition of where that was completed. So it'll have your institution's name on that. So people will be able to say, hey, this student or this learner or this employee earned this particular badge from the West Virginia Association of Colleges, and they're good to go. So you'll have that available as you set that up. So it's pretty easy to, create one, set one up, and then award that in your course. There's different ways that you can award that in your course automatically. And I'll show you some ways as we go into the content area. I'm going to go into a different course because you could set things up here on the badge, but I'm going to show you a different way within the content tool. It's because there's many more use cases for using what we have, as a tool called release conditions, which help automate the system for you to be able to release something to students based on their performance, right? So if we look at speaking Spanish here, I may have some tasks, I may have some modules, units or chapters of content that I need the students to complete. And once they do, I can then automate some awards for them. If I look at the content within this particular course here, it's easy for me to set up some different release conditions based on what I assume the student is going to perform or what the student actually performs, things like that. So here I've got a couple of modules built out. Uno is the unit, and there's some content in here. It might be some web pages, it might be some videos that I want, content that I want the students to be able to apply to, right, and choose. So here's number 2, DOS. I've got some information and some content out here. I can choose to add different release conditions. So I can view release conditions that are within the course. And release conditions allow me to create conditions on what will happen when the student performs things. So same thing with the badges. I will have the ability to set up different release conditions and then award a badge based on what the student completes. And so the reason I showed you this is because there's content in here. Students will be going through, working through that, and hopefully completing things, right? And then you can set these different conditions up. So right now I've got a condition on this that this item, this whole topic of content does not reveal itself to the student until they complete the attempt and the quiz that is based in this module. Same thing on a award. I can set up different release conditions. So if I choose to click the button release or create here, I can see there's many different release conditions. I can set up things based on whether or not students complete assignments or don't complete assignments. And then you can see awards, checklists, whether they complete or don't complete, class lists, what type of enrollment or section or group they might be in, many, many different things. And as we talk about a strategy for micro-credentialing, this is where we use either competencies or outcomes to be able to help that. So I can set up release conditions based on a competency. I'm looking at a specific task or a skill that I want students to master. If they master that based on the competency that I've set up, then I can award that particular award to them, or I can open up more content, things like that. So I can also, award awards based on content visited or not completed, things like that. Discussions, quizzes is a great one. Many of our clients use some of these release conditions based on quizzes. Maybe you have students, that are going through very challenging content and a concept that you really want to help them master. And you might set up a release condition that everybody has to pass that quiz with at least a score of 80% or better. If they don't, they would get sent to remedial content. More content, as you see here, might open up to those students. Different things that you can set up. So that's where you set up the different release conditions. I'm just going to add one in here so you can see. If I choose award, select an award, and then I've got a number of different awards out here that can be issued and sent to those students based on their performance that they would set. So that's, how I can set that up and begin to think about that as an instructor. And, going back to the pedagogical slide that we had discussed about setting up a micro-credentialing strategy, things that you want to think about is, don't award everyone the same award. Make some awards challenging, make it fun, but make it challenging for the students. You want to highlight more than just their intrinsic motivation to complete something. You want to really dive deeper into micro, task level to where we can see that on there, right? And as we create that. And I just saw a message in chat. Alexander asked on Brightspace, what's the difference between a learning object and a competency, or a learning objective and a competency? They're tied together. That's a very good question. A competency is just a skill or a standard or an outcome that you want them to achieve. It might be some state standard that you have. It might be a Common Core standard that you have that is developed and then can be brought into Brightspace. And then you attach that to a learning objective that then can be attached to a activity like an assignment that could be completed. So within that learning objective, they have to complete and move that forward by completing that object or completing the assignment or getting a specific grade on the assignment, things like that. So you work those together and apply those within the system. Good question. So let's take a look at a student here. So I'm going to log in as Vera. I'm going to be in the same site here. Let's just log in as Vera and see what happened. I awarded Vera something the other day, so we'll see if this moves up and she gets a notification, because they will be notified as soon as they either log in or by email. And so here's Vera's Spanish badge. So she was just awarding this. I was working on some more things yesterday. So she completed the chapter of the Uno. And as you can see here, there is a nice little pop-up that she is able to receive, and gives her that extra motivation to keep going. Nice job, however you want to be able to do that. It does have evidence. So there's a course. It's got evidence that she completed that particular unit and chapter. Here's the issue date. Issuer was Brightspace. This would be your institution name. It's just Brightspace for me because I'm on a Brightspace sandbox here. And whether or not I've applied any credits to it that can be used. So you can choose to view the award as a student, which will take me back to the awards tool as we saw as an instructor. And I can see different things about that particular award. And there's the awards, and here's the one that she just had earned. And so now what she has the ability to do as a student is she can share this out. And she can share this to an e-portfolio, electronic portfolio. If your institution is using that within Brightspace, she can share it to her profile within Brightspace so that other folks that have access to her profile, such as students or instructors within the course and the class list, can see that, right? And she can also then send that out to Badger Backpack. And I'll bring up another screen which shows how they can share from Badger Backpack into other platforms such as LinkedIn Learning or LinkedIn and Twitter and things like that, right? So she has the ability to do that. And here's one of the certificates that she had earned. So this is different than the digital badges that you see here that she can just apply into different sites or onto her profile, that she can use that. So this addiction certificate here, if I open this up, it gives me some more information. As a student, she's completed addiction 1, 2, and 3. And so those were the 3 courses that we saw as I was logged in as an instructor. And I did not set an expiry date on this. So she has this, and the issue date was last year. Here's the issuer. She earned 3 credits. Each course was a credit, and she can then take this with her. Here's the evidence. She achieved the learning objective, identified the feelings and attitudes, and some other learning objectives. This was specific to the competency and the activity that was done. She can now generate this certificate for printout. If I open and click on this, it will allow me to open it up with Adobe. And she can then print that out. And you'll notice here, it's got her name, certificate of award. And this was just a simple one. This is one of the test templates that we have in the Brightspace site that you saw when I was creating some of the awards and badges there. And here I can then name that the certificate addiction award, put in some information. It automatically can pull information from the system. So these fields, and you can add in even more fields that would automatically pull and generate information based on tags, such as either the course name, the amount of credits that you see here, the date, so that I'm not, typing in static information here. I'm typing in dynamic fields that then allow the award or the certificate rather to be pulling information from Brightspace data to be able to put that on there. And she can then print that out and save that, which is really cool for a student. Now, let's take a look at the Brightspace community. And we'll look at different strategy methods that are out here in a moment here. So sharing awards. So for you folks that may or may not already have an access to the Brightspace community here. Sorry, my internet is a little bit slower right now. This is the actual Brightspace community. It's just community.brightspace.com. And you can request a login for that. There is some public facing information out here if you don't log in, but there's client information once you do log in, which gives you added benefit of connecting with other folks that are Brightspace clients using the system. You can ask questions and join different groups and post different articles and things like that. And there's video tutorials and there's discussions and groups and things that you can access together and collaborate, with other clients, which is just awesome. So here's a little article that I wrote last year out on the community, and it talks about sharing different badges, creating that personalized learning experience, things that you need, and ways that you can share different badges from Brightspace so that your students can share this. here's a couple of the badges that you saw in my profile in there. And when I do be able to share that, I just click the share it to my area. I'm going to share it to Badger Backpack, as we see here. This was the particular award that I had won a few years ago at D2L. I've been there 9 years now. And once I do share that out on LinkedIn, I can choose the social tab and allow that to be applied either in a post or in a private message out on LinkedIn. And then I can create my own collections out on Badger, because we have a built-in integration with Badger that you can use and create your own collection, so that students can always save those out there, move those from Brightspace into Badger, and then share those out to other social platforms, as you see here. So now I've shared my collection out onto social media, and it is shared out on my profile out on LinkedIn. And if I share that out, you'll see that's the copy. Here's the credentials. This is the license and certification that I have out on LinkedIn. And when somebody looks me up on LinkedIn, they'll be able to see these are my different certifications and badges, which is really great, because if you're, looking to add to your students' success as they leave your institutions, or while they're at your institutions and they're gaining skills and creating that, they can curate those out on social platforms, and potential employers can be looking at the credentials, micro credentials that they've received, and see the recognition coming back to your institution when they do that. So when they open that up, you can see that here's that particular badge that I had worn. People can download those. Here's the criteria, and it says where it was created, issued by. This was our internal Brightspace site. But your institution name would be there, the date, things like that. So it does have that evidence and criteria embedded inside the badge, which is very valuable for your students once they share those out on social platforms. Another area, go back here. Another area that we'll talk about here as we look at, developing a strategy for micro credentials. It's a way to stack some of the credentials that we have out here. So what I've shown you previously here was be able to create an award as an instructor, link that out through some condition that the students would apply or earn throughout the course. But that's only one course, particular badge. However, the certificate that I showed that Vera completed 3 different courses in order to get that certificate. And so what I did there was span that across the competency structure, so that when Vera completes something in course 1 and course 2 and course 3, it applied to an overall competency and then issued a certificate because she completed X, Y, and Z, however many courses that you had add that to. So here I have a article here that talks about stacking these micro credentials, because if we talk about a micro credential program or strategy, there's 2 things that you as an institution are going to want to work with. And so one is, how do we apply a digital transformation or a digital badge and or a certificate type of a program within a particular course? And then how do we stack that and apply that in multiple courses? And that's what this article goes through. So when we talk about these micro credentials, being able to verify and validate and declare skills that learners have earned across multiple courses, that's what this is really talking about. And I've garnered some information here from an EDUCAUSE article last year that I thought was really inspiring. It talks about digital transformation occurs when an institution begins to use these digital technologies to change the business model and develop new sources of value. And that's something that I've seen, come out of the past years, as many campuses and institutions and even corporations have thought about, how do we engage these folks now, especially coming out of COVID. How do we keep them engaged? How do we provide more online different, pieces and things like that. There are ways that we can do that, and we talk about that, which might help you offset declining enrollments. That's actually the preparation for digital transformation. So there's some other links out here that you can take a look at, but here is what I talk about: setting up a stackable way, or a stackable program strategy, to where you can create competencies at an organization level. This would be your institution level. Mine were created at the Brightspace level. And then I shared those down to different courses. Could be course A, course B, course C. And I have different activities here. It might be a quiz or an assignment, something that I'm going to assess the student on to make sure that they have mastered a particular skill. And once they do, I align that with the objective, and I can have all three of these objectives aligned to the same competency. That way, once that award is issued, it is issued because they have completed all three pieces. So I could set an award, or as we saw in the release conditions, once I set those, I can set that up so that they can either receive or earn the award based on any or all of the competencies. So if I set it to all, that's how I can make that stackable, right? So they would have to, the student in this particular example would have to complete all of these objectives in 3 different courses that would align to this particular competency, and then the award is issued, right? And so I've set this up in our competency tool. This is very helpful. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. But this is very helpful if you are thinking about setting up that strategy using the competencies. Here, as you can see, I've got some competencies labeled in here, and they may have be children's, but here, once I'm inside of my course, I then align it to activities and build in the learning objectives, as you can see here. So I associate that learning objective, add the assessment. What type of assessment am I using? This is a quiz. And here, this particular one was an actual quiz, and I can actually assess it on specific questions within a quiz. So maybe I don't want the whole quiz question bank or the whole entire quiz, but I want to make sure that they master specific concepts. I can really drill that in and drill down into that area. But then you'll see that I have a performance required of greater than or equal to 80%. And then I build that into the particular awards that you saw that we assign that. And then I can create those condition releases right here. And so here I've seen on this particular certificate that you saw Vera had earned, she had completed all of these 3 learning objectives, and each of those learning objectives were in different courses. And so once they've earned all of those, and it says all conditions must be met, the other option here is any condition could be met. But I want to make sure that all conditions have been met, so I can stack them and associate them across multiple courses. And once I do that, she has the ability to set that up. And so here you'll see that I had that addiction counseling course set. You saw those 4 courses. This was set up in a what we call a learning path, so we can help students and guide them through that. And you'll see here, as I went through this exercise, Vera had earned all of those. She earned, the ones that come out of the course, and then she earned all 3 of those, and then post that up into a certificate. And then she can share those out and different badges that she might have set up. There's other ways that you can do this, from looking at different objectives or assessments that you might want to complete within the course. Here I have this set up to where I had 7 different quizzes based on the same learning objective. And so I created different awards. One was based on one learning objective, the other based on the competency. And I had set it up so that the student had to complete all 7 quizzes in order to receive that competency and then receive that award or badge. So there's, multiple ways that you can use this tool and be creative, whether it be stacking it across multiple courses within the system, whether it be issuing or allowing learners to earn and receive that badge or certificate based on a single course or a stacked course, or a type of a stacked assessment here where I've associated 7 different quizzes within the course to that same objective. And as an instructor, I can understand by looking at the student progress how they've achieved those. And so here you can see there's 7 different blocks. There's 7 out of 7 achieved. And I can understand when the student has not completed all of them. She's only completed 3 of them here, but now she's passed the learning objective because she's completed all 7 of them down here. And so you can set that up as you need to, you know, and here's different notifications that the students would learn and earn. Once again, it may be a notification when they log in that they see a pop-up. Depending on how you set up the system, it may be a notification from the drop-down that will alert the student that they have earned this particular badge. And it can be an email notification to them to let them know, hey, they've completed XYZ, and they have now earned a particular badge that will then help them get into that area. So hopefully that gives you some good ideas on, understanding the particular awards tool, and gives you some comprehension and thoughts about creating a type of a micro-credentialing strategy within your institution. I'm going to pause there and take a look at some questions, and we'll open up for more questions if any folks have some. I'm looking at the chat here. So Corey mentions, when sharing awards from course to course, is the same content required to earn the award, or does the new course make new rules for the award before it can apply? When you share that award, you set up new rules, because that new course might be different. If that same content is in that, you'd just be able to assign the new rule or condition within that as you seem fit. But it's easy. We have a tool within Brightspace called Import Export Copy Components, and you just select that, and you're in course A, and you say these are the things I want to copy from course B, and they'll be able to pull over. And Suma asks, if instructors are using badges from other courses or from library, can they edit them? Yeah, it depends on whether or not you are the creator of that. So here, whoops, I'm in student. So here is Jonathan is, an instructor. If I've created that award and shared that out to my other constituents, I am the person that is going to be able to make changes to that award. If they copy it and into their system, then they can make changes to that particular award. So if I look at the course awards here, and I look at viewable awards, oh, this is at the top level. So I can't make changes here because these are at the top level of my organization. What I would need to do is go into my course. Sorry about that. I thought it was in a course here already. So if I've created them in a course, I can then edit them as I please and make some different changes. We'll just go into one of the courses and show you how that's done real quick. So in my Spanish course here, we look at the awards tool, and you have the ability to edit any of those particular awards that you have then created. You may want to change the description. You may want to change the credit award points. You may want to change some release conditions and the way things are set up. So if I look at the course awards here, these are the ones that I have allowed and created in the system, so I can edit the award or I can edit the properties. And here I can choose to hide that until it's earned. I can create some different release conditions here. I can edit this particular award here, make changes. If I've edited it after it's already been issued, those edits will take place. So it may be a fixed date. Maybe I change the expiry date. It'll look back when the student earned that and the date, and figure out and calculate if it's expired or not and things like that. So you can choose that, and you can also change the image of it if you want, as you need to. Good questions. And Alexander asks, can we lock instructors from editing the badges, like if they are just facilitating a course that's not their own? Yes. So as long as you're creating those badges at an administrative level and sharing them down, as you saw here when I was just at the Brightspace level, even though I'm logged in, some of the workaround or some of the workflow within Brightspace depends on what level you are enrolled at and or how you have your system set up and your hierarchy. So as I logged in right now as an instructor, I'm coming to the institutional homepage. When I clicked on one of these courses here, you'll notice that my navigation bar changed and my images changed, and I was at a course homepage. Depending on where you create that award, if I'm creating it as an admin and I choose this award, since I'm logged in as an instructor here, if I look at the awards here, I'm at the highest organization level, institution level. And so these ones I cannot change. I can just edit some of the properties, but I can't edit the rest of the particular items within that because they were created by the admin and then shared down. So the ones that I create in my course at my course level, those are the ones I can share down. So if you want to lock ones that they can't edit, create them at the organization level and share them down. So very good questions. And as I mentioned, I hope this helps you folks understand some of the strategy that you can build and the things that you can do within Brightspace using the awards tool. I know I've just given you, a brief overview and talked about some of the strategy and things to think about here, but you can get very creative and you can build this out as you need. So, there's a little bit of work to be done in the back end when you're creating the competency structure and setting that up and applying those to different activities, things like that. Much of that is usually done with instructional designers as they're working with faculty to apply those things on, clients that I have worked with in the past. Usually have an instructional design team that is helping faculty build that out so you can understand how you want to apply those skill sets and the badges and award those as you may need to. But it does give you the ability to then, allow your students, as you see Vera here, to become a motivated student and to help them understand, how to become more persistent and go at that task level, right? Instead of just looking at the overall, here's a course, here's what we need to complete, here's our 8-week, 10-week, 16-week course. However, your institution has designed that, whether it's an association or a 2-year college, a 4-year college, or a training facility, you can, apply these concepts using the different tools within Brightspace to really, it's all about student success. At the end, how do we help our students develop more persistent task and, those qualities and skills that we want our students to have? Motivate them. Badges help, gives them something to take away and share on different social platforms, and it also gives recognition back to your institution, right? As we have seen that. So hopefully this was helpful for you folks. If there are any other questions, let me know, and I will share this PDF out with Corey, and he can share it out to the greater constituents that are available here for the conference.
Sounds good, Dan. Thank you very much. Very helpful.
Great. I'm glad people enjoyed it.
All right. Well, that'll probably wrap it up for us. thanks everybody for attending. Don't forget there's a keynote starting here in 5 minutes on the main stage. And we'll make these resources available to you when we get them. And thank you, Dan.
Very good. Thank you, folks. Everyone have a nice day.